We are back with another round of Nintendo Switch eShop deals covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia, and this week the savings go deep. Whether you're into classics, fighters or something off the beaten path, there's a great mix here of gems that I think are worth checking out. Then, as always, the giveaways continue. I've got two $10 eShop gift card winners to announce later in the video, and I've got two more to give away. Just drop a comment down below to enter, and those winners, they'll be revealed next Saturday. Now finally, before we do dive into the first game, if you enjoy these videos, subscribe. I've been covering Switch now for 7 years, and for a smaller channel like mine, your support, it makes a massive difference. You know, here we have daily content, and just to give you an idea here, about 70% of people who watch, they aren't subscribed. So do the channel a favor, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it. Warm Snow is 40% off, matching its lowest ever price, and among the many Hades-style roguelikes out there, this is one of the more stylish and inventive. Now it's set in a world warped by a mysterious snowfall that's corrupted the 5 great houses. Now you play as Bian, a silent warrior, carving through twisted creatures and unraveling the truth. The combat here is fast, fluid, and deeply customizable. You'll be mixing weapon types, relics, and elemental modifiers to craft your own fighting style. Bosses then, great fun. The upgrade system, rewarding. And the art direction, it's inspired by traditional silk paintings, and it's just really unique, kind of like this dreamlike tone. Now there are a few frame drops towards the end game, but it's nothing that gets in the way of a really good time. So yeah, easily, I think one of the better roguelikes on Switch, and definitely worth a look at this price. My review is below. Sifu is 70% off, matching the lowest ever price, and this remains one of the most intense, rewarding melee action games on the system. Now here you're on a quest for revenge. You're taking down your family's killers one by one, but each death of your character, it ages you, bringing more power, but let's say less resilience. It's a smart, high-stakes system, and it plays into the game's core philosophy, which is adaptation is survival. The combat, though, is tight and brutal. With every punch, dodge, and counter, it really demands practice and focus. And the setting as well, it really evolves with each stage, from rain-slicked back alleys to towering office complexes, and the presentation, from music to the camera work, just incredibly cool. On the Switch then, not flawless, occasional performance dips do show up, but it's still incredibly impressive how well it runs. So yeah, a proper gem with real depth if you're willing to learn its rhythm, and if you want to learn more, my review is below. Freedom Planet 2 is 40% off, matching its lowest price, and if you're a fan of Sonic-style action platformers, this one is a standout. Now this time, you have 4 fully playable characters, each offering different movement abilities, and also a surprisingly rich narrative, we'll say. With the characters though, then you've got speed, gadgets, shields, icy powers. Each character has something fresh to bring to the table. In gameplay wise, really tight controls, massive levels, and just great animation overall. I think it makes the moment to moment presentation so much fun. Add in then branching paths, a huge cast of NPCs, customizable difficulty settings, and also a guard and revival system. And yeah, if you compare this to the original game, it's a massive step up. See, I don't think this one gets talked about enough personally, but it is a top tier indie platformer and 100% worth your time. Guilty Gear Strive is 34% off, matching its lowest price, and this is hands down one of the best fighters on the platform. Now it's built by Arc System Works, and yeah, they're just god tier when it comes to this genre, and they do not disappoint. Expect to hear incredible mechanics, incredible visual style, and rollback netcode for just ultra clean online play. On top of this then, you've got 28 playable characters here, each with a unique fighting style, and if you are new to the series, there is a training system to really help you find your footing, and it's really well implemented. Now the story mode then is 6 hours of pure cutscenes, so just a warning there, it's going to be for those that know the history of this game. If you don't, you're going to be completely lost. But I think the real draw here is arcade, versus, and online modes, where the game's balance and depth just shine. So yeah, it looks and plays way better than I ever expected on the Switch, and the visual flair really just carried over so well. So look, if you want like the peak of 2D fighters, this one is easy to recommend. A big thank you then to today's sponsor, Untold Tales, who just launched their newest game on the eShop Railroute. It is available now with a 20% discount for launch, so if you have been curious, this could be a great time to jump in and save a bit in the process. So what is Railroute? Well, it's a management sim where you build and automate your very own railway empire. You'll start small, just a couple of stations and track segments, but before long, you'll be routing trains across real-world inspired maps from New York to Tokyo to Birmingham and beyond. It's also surprisingly rich with options. Story mode will walk you through the basics with a mentor, really good for learning the ropes. Endless mode gives you complete freedom to build at your own pace. Timetable mode, it's kind of logic puzzles and strategy, definitely a little bit more challenging. And then finally, rush hour mode, and if the name didn't give it away, this is intense. It's going to be waves of tight, time-sensitive challenges. So yeah, this one, it's got that satisfying automation loop for players who love just optimizing systems, but it's also easy enough for newcomers to pick up quickly. So yeah, definitely worth a look if you're into Sims or just want something different on your Switch. And yeah, thanks again to Untold Tales for sponsoring this video. You will find a link to Railroute in the pinned comment below. Dead by Daylight is 65% off, a brand new alloy, and while the visuals on Switch are rough, the gameplay is an absolute blast. You're either the hunter or the hunted in this tense, asymmetrical multiplayer experience. So basically, 4 survivors try to repair generators and escape, while a killer stalks and slaughters. It's chaotic, tactical, and full of, I guess, dread, or at least initially until you start to get used to it. It's particularly the case if you're the last one standing, in fact. Now, as I said, look, the Switch version has issues, but if you've got no other way to play, I do still think it is worth, experiencing. But expect the frame rate to dip, textures are muddy, and load times, they aren't ideal. But again, the core gameplay loop still works, and it's kept fresh with tons of content, updates frequently, and crossovers, think like Michael Myers, Pyramid Head, so on. So yeah, look, still worth a look. I'm actually thinking about testing this on the Switch too, so if you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments below. But I think it's one of the best multiplayer games out there. So again, if you don't mind the compromises, Dead by Daylight, it's one of the best. Cat Quest 3 is 40% off at a new low price, and if you've never touched this series, now's a great time to fix that. It's an open world action RPG that leans fully into its pirate theme with a colourful set of islands to explore, real-time combat, and a boatload of treasure hunting quests. Now you play as a swashbuckling cat pirate, sailing between islands, upgrading your ship, and taking down pirates in search of what is an artifact. The writing here is sharp, the visuals are clean, and there's co-op too, which great fun. Now, if you are allergic to puns, steer clear, but for everyone else, this is a charming, tightly made game with great pacing and plenty of gear variety. And yes, as always, the comments you'll see down below, people always support this one. They're not wrong. It is way better than I think a lot of people expect, but the entire trilogy, absolutely just check it out. Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars Reforged is 30% off, matching its low price, and honestly, it's a classic for a reason. You follow George and Nico on a mystery spanning from Paris to the Middle East, and you're diving into a web of Templar conspiracies. The puzzles are smart, the dialogue is incredibly funny, and the story still holds up all of these years later. This version gives you a visual facelift and the ability then to swap between new and old art styles as well, so it's perfect for both newcomers but also, those chasing nostalgia. I myself was kind of jumping between the two pretty frequently. I couldn't help myself. And yeah, really great rebuild, personally. All of the puzzles are intact, all of the gameplay is intact. To be honest, they could have got rid of the goat puzzle. Wouldn't have minded that. Hate that bloody goat. But overall, it's a point-and-click legend. Lovingly modernized and, yeah, a must-play for fans of both Broken Sword as well as the genre. Trinity Trigger Deluxe Edition is 70% off a new low price, and yeah, I don't normally highlight deluxe editions, but this, it's only a touch more than the standard edition, $1 in fact, but it actually adds content. There's more side quests, and yeah, it fleshes out the characters a bit more. Now the game itself then is a throwback to the PS1 and SNES era action RPG, so think Mana style dungeons, real-time combat, and a world built around clashing gods and fallen relics. Now combat is simple but satisfying, especially once you start swapping weapons mid-battle and learning weaknesses. The story itself, predictable, and then some dungeons as well, honestly, they drag a little. But I like the party dynamic and the gear customization. It's also playable then in co-op, which definitely adds a big factor for a lot of people out there. So yeah, I think overall, a Trinity Trigger, nothing revolutionary, but it is kind of a fun, low-friction RPG that does a lot right for fans of the genre. They want something a little more easier going, kind of pick up and play. Our Shaddai HD Remaster is 40% off, matching its lowest price, and this game over the years remains one of the most unique I've played. I actually played it back at launch, so yeah, a while ago now. But this one's all about, I guess, the vibe, the experience. You're chasing fallen angels through these surreal, shifting landscapes. It's all inspired by religious art, abstraction, myth, and the visuals change constantly from sketch-like voids to color washes, and even when the mechanics themselves feel a little basic, I think the world just keeps you locked in. The combat then is tight with just a few inputs to learn, but yeah, I would say it's also deeper than it first appears. That's thanks to timing-based systems and also disarm mechanics. Performance on Switch then is decent, and I do like the added extras as well. There's an art book and a novel, so yeah, some people will enjoy that stuff, some people won't care. Yeah, again, won't be for everyone, and that generally goes for the entire experience. But if you want a game that genuinely feels like nothing else, I think this one is worth the trip. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy is 50% off and new at low price, and this is a fantastic bundle for anyone into courtroom drama with a lot of heart. Now, it includes 3 full-length visual novels, that's Apollo Justice, Duel of Destinies, and Spirit of Justice, plus all DLC episodes and a mountain of extras like an art gallery, soundtrack player, even a character animation tool. Now here, it's the standard Ace Attorney format. You'll investigate crime scenes, grill witnesses, and build airtight arguments in court across 16 cases total. Tons of gameplay here for your cash, honestly. Easily 50 to 60 hours of storytelling. For these games, though, I think more than anything, it's the writing I enjoy the most. It's absurd. It's got clever twists. There's really, likable characters. And yeah, if you've played the original trilogy, this really continues that formula, but it definitely expands a little on the world and the systems. The winners of the 2 $10 eShop gift cards then are on screen right now. Congrats both. Email me for the code, and everyone else, drop a comment down below for your chance in next Saturday's video. Sorry, we're closing. It's 15% off and new at low price, and it looks like this one just got a slight permanent price drop too, but honestly, even at full price, this is a hidden gem. It's a survival horror game through and through, but it definitely carves out its own identity. It's part nostalgic PS1 era design, part modern character-driven narrative. Now you play as Michelle, cursed by a demon and trying to undo her fate before time runs out. That setup lets the game switch between kind of eerie demon world segments full of fixed camera angles, resource management, and almost arcade-style first-person combat. Yes, the camera switches when you aim, but also then kind of punctuating that, there's these quiet, often tender moments in her London neighborhood. It's got that classic kind of Resident Evil vibe basically in exploration, and it even actually packs optional tank controls if you really want to punish yourself. I wouldn't recommend it personally, but each to their own. But overall, the game is surprisingly funny. The dialogue choices can shape how the game ends, and I think just generally there's a lot of charm in the cast that you will meet. Really kind of odd characters, a lot of heart though to it. So yeah, I think this one, it's stylish, it's packed with all sorts of good features. Think gyro aiming, aim assist, accessibility. And yeah, I think with this one, great fun. And the only warning, I guess, is, I said this in my review, I'll say it again here, if the idea of a game being proudly inclusive rubs you the wrong way, or you like to call things woke, this one won't be for you. But if you are open to something bold, expressive, and different, I couldn't recommend it more. Find my review in the pinned comment. X Nordics is 20% off, matching the lowest price to date, and if you're an action RPG fan, this series should already be on your radar. The Switch has handled previous entries well enough, but this one, I think it's the most refined yet, both in structure and performance. There are dips, do not get me wrong, but nothing that pulls you out too much, and overall, I think it runs better than Ys 8, or especially 9, which really struggled. This time, the action, it shifts to the high seas. You'll be switching between 2 characters on the fly with tons of combat. You'll be chaining attacks, swapping mid-combo, even triggering powerful revenge-style finishers. There's a mana system. There's all sorts going on here. On top of that as well, your ship, great fun. It plays a huge role in exploration, so you'll be charting new waters, engaging in combat, and uncovering different locations. It just makes the game feel like a genuine adventure. It feels huge. It's more like a full adventure than just, a typical dungeon crawler. Now, I will give a warning here. A Switch 2 version is already confirmed for later this year, so fingers crossed for an upgrade path. But right now we have no information on that. But as it stands, I think it's a really polished, really inventive entry in what is a well-loved series. And yeah, another one I can easily recommend. And that is the video done. What will you be grabbing this week? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, remember to check out yesterday's under $10 deals. That's on screen right now, but also in the pinned comment below. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed it. That helps the channel a huge amount. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.